I like these calm little moments before the storm.
Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Max.
And this is Movie Nostalgia, where we give you an honest review of the movies we've meddled with so mischievously over at Maybe Movies.
And on this episode, we will be looking at 1994's Luc Besson opus Léon, or Leon, or Léon the Professional, or Leon the Professional, or The Professional, or however you choose to describe it. It's depending on which territory you happen to be viewing this.
Indeed.
So this is, as I say, the Luc Besson directed and written thriller drama, shall we say?
Yes.
Starring Jean Reno, Gary Oldman, Danny Aiello, and also featuring, in no small part, Natalie Portman in her film debut.
Indeed, yes.
One of the people that she beat to the punch for the part was Christina Ricci.
Your work is puerile and underdramatized. You lack any sense of structure, character, or the Aristotelian unities.
Really?
Apparently so.
Oh.
She was 11 when she was cast.
Oh, right, okay.
By the time they filmed, she was 12.
Of course, right. All right. Interesting. I think they both could have worked.
Yeah.
I think, in hindsight, Christina Ricci was already going to be famous. This was what brought Natalie Portman to fame. So I think that's fair. You know, they've both had their opportunities, and I think that works out. I would be interested to see what the alternative version would have been, but no, I'm happy with the casting we got.
Definitely, absolutely. So trying to do the usual thing that we do. Trying to think. 94. I think I saw it with my girlfriend at the time, but I can't remember whether we saw it at the cinema or saw it on a home rental.
All right, okay.
So it would have been sort of tail end of 94, early 95, I believe.
Yes, well, my story's similar, but mine was very definitely, it was a video rental. I can't remember if me and my friends all watched it together for the first time, or if they said, we watched this film, you've got to watch it. But I definitely remember sitting down with all my friends and watching it. Back when VHS was king, it was a rental from the store. So that would have probably been early 95, I think.
It's one of those ones that I was straight off the bat. I loved it. Also, knowing a little bit, or rather when I saw it, I was like, okay. Kind of understanding where some of the ideas in this came from. Which, it was years. It was only actually recently when I was looking up a couple of months ago, reading a couple of things about it, that I was actually vindicated. I thought, I think I know what you did here, or where this comes from. And it's only recently that I read part of an interview with Luc Besson from a while ago, where he basically says what I thought, which was that the character of Léon is an extrapolation from the character of Victor le Nettoyeur, or Victor the Cleaner, that Luc...
From Nikita?
From Nikita.
I've never watched Nikita, but people, not just you, but other people have commented about how it's basically the same character.
Yeah, played by Jean Reno. And even, as I said, Luc Besson has said in an interview that he imagined Léon as Victor's American cousin, but somebody who's a bit more in touch with his emotions.
Okay.
Or a bit more human. Is kind of what he said.
Victor Nettoyeur.
Which is very much what this is. And again, there's a lot that's gone into this. A lot of it has gone into stuff. I mean, even things like that kind of, the way Reno plays the character, that's a little bit slow.
Well, I'd go a little bit further. Childlike.
Yes.
Childlike, I would say, because I'm always especially struck that one scene when he's in the cinema watching Singing in the Rain, and the look of joy and wonder on his face.
It is very childlike.
It is so childlike. I don't mean that he has mental issues, but I think he's a childlike character, that he's more like Arrested Development than a mental health issue.
Yeah. Exactly, which was a choice by Jean Reno himself, because he thought if you could play the character like that, then the audience are less likely to see anything, or less likely to believe that this man is going to do anything, abuse his position of power in his relationship with Matilda.
Yes, I see what you mean, yes. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's that, and it's the constant milk drinking again. That's a very child thing that children drink. Yeah. I'm a huge milk drinker as an adult, but that's because I always loved it my whole life. But I know a lot of people stop drinking milk when they grow up unless they put it in their tea and coffee. Whereas children often like a full glass of milk, and that's a very childish little treat, you know, or childlike.
Apart from this one here.
Oh, of course, yes. But
but I didn't know about that then. I didn't become lactose intolerant until my 30s.
Oh, right. Oh,
I just never, apparently at all as a kid, I was just never that bothered by drinking milk.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, not everybody likes everything.
No, exactly. Sorry, that's a little bit of a tangent.
Bit of an aside. You're right. It creates a sense of safety with Leon.
Mm.
That counteracts the hard edge of him being the cleaner that he is.
Becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Because, technically, on paper, bad man.
Yeah,
and, doing bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely doing bad things. But he's got this quality.
Yeah.
And it redeems the character, and it redeems the character even before he becomes involved with Matilda. They've already established that quality to him.
Definitely. Which also plays well because of the other... the other part of this film, which unfortunately that it hasn't aged well, and part of the reasons for that is in there, is this kind of strange relationship that they have.
Yes, it's uncomfortable. I understand that the director's cut goes even further with it.
All of that's part of the story. I don't know whether he's ever said it, but I know other people around him have said that was taken from his own, because Besson has kind of been Me Too'd. I don't know whether he was actually Me Too'd. Yeah, so...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, at the start of the film, when we first meet Leon, when he's taking out the fat man, the girl that's in the apartment with him...
Oh, of course. Yes, she's very young as well, isn't she? Yes.
Her name is Maywen Labasco.
Okay.
Who, at the time of filming, was Besson's wife. Besson met her when he was 29 and she was 11. They started dating when she was 15, which apparently was legal at the time in France. Married her a year later.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know whether she's ever said anything directly against him. I think other people on her behalf may have done, because they were married early 90s and were divorced by the late 90s.
Right.
But I don't know whether there's any animosity between her and him. But yes, it was, and they were so that part of the element of the younger woman being in love with the older man has often been cited as it was a commentary on his real life relationship at the time.
I see, that's interesting, because I'd obviously noticed, because you get the same thing, or very similar sort of type of relationship in Fifth Element and in Other Places. So I was always aware that Luc Besson had a predilection for depicting vulnerable young women in his stories.
Yes.
But apart from Leon, they never really skirted the edge of controversy quite so hard. When you take that fact into account, that does recontextualise it a little bit. It's more than just a predilection.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit icky, I have to say.
Yeah, even if you want to kind of sort of break it down even further, as you were saying there, and bring in the Fifth Element, obviously, because we've done that one just very recently. It's a similar kind of thing. Okay, you have adult Mila Jovovich, but she's essentially less than an hour old.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she is a vulnerable young woman.
So is that innocence, yeah.
She has that innocence to her. Also, Mila Jovovich was 20 at the time.
Something like that.
19, 20, she was really young.
As you say, vulnerable young women looking to an older, more experienced man for guidance.
Please. Help.
And protection.
I don't want to delve too deep into that, but I have to admit that I just picked up a little bit of ick from that.
Yeah.
With that additional piece of information, that makes it just a little bit too creepy for me, I think. Which is a shame.
It is a shame.
Because this is another one of those great examples of 1990s cinema. We really did have a bit of a renaissance in the 90s with filmmaking, in cinematography, in script writing, in the directing. We had auteurs like Besson, like Tarantino and others that came up.
Lynch. And Lynch was more 80s, but it's still going in the 90s, yeah. As an auteur.
He was part of the 90s movement. And this is an outstanding piece of 90s cinema, especially when I consider it was written by Besson as well. It's a masterpiece. We were talking about this when we were watching it back just before we sat down to film this, talking about how many examples continuously throughout the film there are of implied context and show don't tell. It's a bit of a masterclass on that. Masterful cinematography, wonderful performances, especially when you consider that was Portman's first performance.
And especially when you put in touch, because certainly French cinema has that reputation of being a lot more art house and is treated more as an art form as opposed to part of a money machine, which you get from Hollywood.
Yeah.
So when you blend those two elements together, sometimes they can fall apart, but this is an example of where everything just slots into place.
I am right in thinking it was Besson's first American production, wasn't it?
Yes, so the films that he was most known for before this were Nikita, obviously, and The Big Blue, but I don't know if The Big Blue was an American production or not.
Ah, right, I don't know The Big Blue, but I know Nikita wasn't.
No, that was a French production.
That was French. It got remade in America later, didn't it?
Yes, because that's why... So just coming back to what I was saying about when I watched this, because I'd seen Nikita in France when I was living in France.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, I know, yeah. So I had a bit of sort of... Subway is the other one.
Oh, Subway. Yes, I've heard of it, never seen it.
This early performance from Christophe Lambert.
Ah, yes. I know it more as a Christopher Lambert film than as a Besson film. Mm-hmm. Yes, because when Highlander came out, he was always quoted as the star of Subway.
Exactly, yeah.
You know.
There can be only one.
Xadrum is more than just curious content on YouTube. We're also a small publishing house, with books covering a range of genres from 1940s pulp adventure to children's novels, and even a touch of the macabre for those who like their literature on the dark side. Our titles are available in both paperback and ebook formats. Ebooks are available on Amazon, but physical copies can only be bought exclusively through our website at xadrum.com. Jeff's got enough cash as it is, so why not help us little guys grow and thrive? Links can be found in our banner and in the description to all of our videos, and we look forward to helping you indulge your itch for escapism.
Because it's in the first half of the 1990s, we hadn't had the full impact of the digital revolution yet. And this film has no digital effects. It's pure cinematography, it's pure in-camera work. And because of that, it's aged visually incredibly well.
It has, definitely. Interestingly enough, apparently, so most of the stuff that we see of New York is all of the exterior shots. All of the interior shots were shot in France.
Oh, really?
Which I did always wonder about. I was never sure. Certainly the first apartment building that they're in. One of my mum's cousins, or my second, third cousins, whatever, who used to live in Paris, lived in a building quite similar, not exactly the same, not on quite on the same scale, but the layout and the internal, the architecture inside wasn't dissimilar to...
Okay.
To that building, so I always kind of suspected.
Because, I mean, it doesn't stand out. Like, the architecture doesn't seem starkly different from what you would expect from New York. So it's a nice coincidence. But that's interesting that they took the time to go all the way to New York, film all those exterior shoots, and then do everything else in France. It's like, you were already in one place, why not just
do it there?
Do it there. Well, I mean, obviously as a Frenchman, I suppose he had loyalty to his home country and wanted to bring work there and things like that. But interesting fact. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course we can't do this without at least paying a couple of words to the slight masterclass in psychopathy, shall we say, by the truly great Gary Oldman.
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Who was given complete license in this. A lot of his scenes were ad-libbed.
Yes, I was just watching a video a few days ago talking about him, and they were specifically about how he's sort of pigeonholed as that eccentric character actor, but it's worked for him. And of course, this is one of the big examples that they were using in that video. Yeah. I mean, because even you said it earlier on, everyone, that was originally an outtake, wasn't it? It wasn't meant to be scripted that way.
I didn't say that. I don't know where you got that from. It wasn't me.
No,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Oh, right.
Because I know little things like when he gets disturbed from his music and he goes right up to the guy and he's sniffing around him.
Yeah, all improvised.
So the actor he's playing off, that kind of slight uncertainty is genuine because he wasn't expecting any of that.
Oh, right. He didn't warn him. Okay,
just went and did it.
Okay, just went and did it.
But yes, it is fantastic, and he was always. I think he was like his sort of brief on the part was he's like almost the opposite of Leon, who is so reserved, and so repressed that he's kind of just he's let off the chain.
You're off the fucking chain.
Yeah, and he chews the scenery in an extremely satisfying manner.
Absolutely.
He's I don't want to say he's stealing scenes, but he's making the most of chewing the scenery, and it's a very satisfying experience. It's over the top, but it's not too over the top. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's just right in its manicness.
So again, this is another one that did pretty well. So it was made for a budget of 16 million and took 45.3.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
So for the early 90s, that's a good... It's a good haul. One thing I did find out when I was looking at a couple of bits of trivia the other day for this. Benny...
Is he the one that shot randomly? Benny, we're coming out!
Yeah. Who's played by a guy called Keith A. Glasgow. Sometime after this, either gave up acting or to supplant his acting took a job working for the New York Fire Department.
Huh.
And actually lost his life on 9/11. He was one of the firefighters who died.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Learned a thing. Thank you for your service. I think before we go any further, we've kind of missed one small thing. We should probably talk about the plot. I'll keep it brief.
We'll get round to it, don't worry.
So this is the tale of Leon, a cleaner or assassin for the Italian, mafia is the implication. It's never exactly stated. Whose life gets turned kind of upside down when a family in the apartment building where he lives is murdered by a corrupt DEA agent. And he gets mixed up in a risky relationship with their one surviving child of the family, Matilda, where stuff, shenanigans, and excitement ensue.
As with any good cinema, so much of it isn't to do with what people are saying. It's to do with those wonderful interactions. The music as well is really nice. There's just that little undercurrent of tragedy to the music, which works perfectly. It is just,
Yeah, it's sort of soaked into the film on a base level, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, as we were saying when we were watching it, there are so many little things here that Besson returns to in things like The Fifth Element. The other thing which I thought was very interesting about this was Besson did write a sequel to this.
What, with Matilda?
Called Matilda.
I would have liked to have seen that film.
Well.
Oh?
You kind of can.
Oh?
So yes, you read the sequel Matilda. It was designed to be shot with Natalie Portman, but when she was quite a few years older. But before they could ever get around to doing it, Besson left the Gaumont Film Company and set up his own studio. As a result of which, Gaumont, the French not being people to be dissuaded from a chance to hold a grudge, hold on to the rights to Leon quite tightly.
Right, okay.
He did manage to take the script, rework it, and technically it was released in 2011 as Colombina, starring Zoe Saldana, about a young woman assassin going after the cartel because they killed her family when she was a child. It's basically the script to Matilda.
Well, there you go. I'd never even heard of that film. I didn't know that existed.
I'd forgotten about it until I saw the name when I was reading the thing. It was directed by a guy called Olivier Megaton.
See, why didn't he get Portman for that? Why didn't he? I mean, surely
you'd have thought
you'd be able to think that she would be interested in going back to the thing that brought her on the scene and kind of bring a circular closure to not to her career, but to that experience. Well, that's interesting. I think it's a shame that they didn't use Natalie Portman.
It might have been because the character Matilda is still owned by Gaumont. So he couldn't use it.
Yes, but they still could have had Natalie Portman playing the character.
So yes, for those in the know would know what he's doing. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I said I'd forgotten about that film about Colombina, until I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, I vaguely remember that coming out and not really making any traction. But it did. But I might check it out. It might be worth a look.
It might be worth a watch. So, how do we feel?
My natural instinct is to give it a 2. Mm-hmm. But when you know a bit more about the backstory and some of the things in there, as you say, that little bit of ick kind of makes me want to drag it down to a 1.5.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Okay, no, actually, I don't know can I do 1 3/4?
Can you?
No.
I was going to say.
My thumbs aren't big enough. 1.5 from me.
Okay. Well, I am going to give it a 2. Because although I'm feeling the ick factor, I have always tried to separate the artist from the art. And I think this is one of those examples. It's a bit icky, but that doesn't change the fact that this is a fantastic film that's worth a view and worth rewatching over and over again. It's got layers that you can pick apart over and over. So, 2 for me. Okay,
so I'm going to do something a bit cheeky here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make it a 2 as well for the theatrical cut, which even Besson calls the director's cut.
Uh-huh.
There is a director's cut, which Besson calls the long version.
Oh!
And that's the one with the more icky stuff that I would give away.
Yes, I've heard about that. I haven't seen it.
I have seen it once, and it's like... I'm not surprised that they cut it out because the test audiences in California at the time, they didn't like it.
I can imagine that not going down very well in Middle America.
So we'll be looking at the other half of this matchup next time. All I can say really about it is it may be the ending from the book, but was it a happy ending for you?
We'll have to wait and see, won't we, folks?
We'll see you next time. Take care of each other.
As always, guys, TTFN.